All right. 3.1. We are solving literal equations. Okay, here's the thing about these. It blows some kids. This is dealing with intruder alert. Everything we're doing is dealing with intruder alert, but on a totally different level. Those of you that get, and I'm not saying you probably will, those of you that are messing up because of decimals will be happy to know that you're not dealing with decimals right now. Okay? But it could mess with your brains on a whole new level. Okay? You need to relax. Don't freak out the minute you see the equation. Go with intruder alert. Remember what I've taught y'all now for 2 years about intruder alert. You will be using the distributive property. You will be using it. And intruder alert. You will be using the distributive property and intruder alert. So if you know those two things, you will be fine. Stick with what you know, okay? Y'all ready? Okay. Here's your first example. Okay.
Is this like those bonuses?
Yep. F equals W times H divided by L. You're solving for H. Now, this is where kids freak out. If I were to have F, W, and L as just plain old numbers, y'all would be fine. If I had this as like 2, W as 3, L as 4, and then H is all by itself, you'd be like, okay, I'm H, this is intruder, this is intruder, here's the front door, here's the cop, I know what to do. But the minute you take the numbers out and throw a bunch of letters, it confuses a lot of people. Keep in mind, we're looking for H. Here's H. So, Michael, who are you in this problem?
H.
That's right. You guys are H. Michaela, name one intruder. Good. Emily, name another intruder. Okay. Gabby, who's the cop? There you go. So let's start with intruder alert. If this is you, I'm going to rewrite the problem. I'm rewriting the problem. So are you. If H is you, what is the first intruder that we need to get rid of, Aiden? L. Remember, we get rid of the L first, not the one that's directly doing the damage, but this one first. What operation is taking place right here with the L?
You're dividing.
So the opposite of dividing is?
Is a multiplying.
There you go. So we're going to multiply both sides by L to eliminate that L. And again, ABC order, I have F times L, because L times F is just that, right? Equals WH. Now I'm going to pause between steps. You guys need to look at it and you need to raise your hand if you're like, wait, what did you just do? Yes, ma'am.
So whenever we do real equations, we always have to write it in alphabetical order?
You should.
Wait, what?
Your answers and stuff like that. Is it going to be wrong? No. I don't even think IXL takes off. If you were to write L and then F, I don't even think that would be wrong.
Football.
Okay, Cecilia. What do you think we do now? By age, who are you? So we want to. Do we want to get rid of age?
Oh,
That's right, because W is our intruder. So that's what. Do you see me highlighting this? If it helps to keep highlighting who you are, then do it. So since W and H are multiplying, I'm going to divide both sides by W so that I can eliminate them. And the answer is F times L, all divided by W, equals H. There's our answer. This is what you're doing today. This is what you're doing today.
That's relatively easy.
You think.
You think?
Any questions about any of the moves that we made? Do you see why throwing in a bunch of letters and taking away the numbers sometimes can be more stressful? Even, like I always start off with, hey, guess what? Y'all don't have to deal with decimals and stuff today. Yes! Okay, guess what? Instead, we're doing a bunch of letters. Wait, what? And the stress went from one to the other. Do you see what I'm saying? You thought the decimals were the stress part.
This went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Exactly.
Oh.
But it is for some people, though. Okay, here's another one. We're going to do a lot of examples to get y'all a little bit more comfortable. P equals 2 times L, that's a lowercase l, plus 2 times W. And we're solving for L. No, L. So I'm going to highlight, you are the L. Cecilia, who's the cop? Taylor, name one of the intruders.
2W.
2W. Notice he said this whole thing. These are two intruders together. Michael, name another one. Intruder. 2. The 2 right here. Okay, so this is us. We want to isolate us. So raise your hand if you can tell me what you would move first. Taylor?
2W.
Okay, we're going to move this whole intruder out. How do I do that?
Subtract both sides by 2W.
Okay, notice, guys, we want to move the whole term. That's plus 2W, so we want to subtract 2W from both sides. And that crosses out. Now look at how I write the new one. P minus 2W. Yep, P minus 2W. They cannot be combined because they are not like terms. So let's pause. Look at what I did. Do you have questions as to what I did? Okay, Michaela, what do I do now?
Divide by 2.
On both sides, right? So she wants to get rid of the 2 because we need to isolate the little l. Watch what I do. I'm dividing this whole thing by 2. Look at what I did. That cancels out. My answer is P minus 2W divided by 2 equals L.
Would you take the answer P over 2 minus W? I wouldn't do that, but I would just regularly ask them.
I guess that would That-
How would you get that though?
Because you divide 2W.
That actually would work.
But I'm not gonna do that.
He's saying, what if you did P over 2 minus 2W over 2
Oh.
equals L? Because remember how we divided?
No.
Wait. So he said right here, what if you divided the P by the 2 separate from the minus 2W by the 2?
What?
Now, look right here. Let me start over. So right here, we're dividing, right, by 2. What if I did this? Separated it. It would look like this, right? 2 divided by 2 is what?
1.
So that actually could cross out.
Do it like this.
No. And then that could work. But this is okay.
Yeah, this is stressing me out already.
Any questions about what we did? Everyone have it? Okay. Now this is going to maybe challenge your brains. I call this backwards distributive
Oh,
property.
Question.
No?
Fair enough.
AX minus 5B equals 7X plus 18B. Solve for X. Okay, so write that down and then just pause before you start working it. We want to make sure we know who we are, what we're solving for. So write that down. Okay. We're solving for X. So like what y'all just learned, first we need to simplify, correct? Can we combine any terms on either side? No. We need to get the X over here. So what would be, let's first get all the X's together on one side. So Aiden, what would be the first thing you would do? Yeah, so let's move this whole term over here so we can get the X's together. So if this is, if there's no sign, it's positive, right? So then the opposite is, yeah, subtracting on both sides. Now, question. Can I combine the AX with the negative 7X? Why not, Aiden? What? Well, because we have an A there. So they are not like terms. Do y'all all see that? Michaela, do you see that? Okay, so now I have negative 7X plus AX minus 5B equals 18B.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why did you write negative 7x plus ax instead of writing ax minus 7x? Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You could have done AX minus 7X. It really doesn't matter. Okay. Now, let's get rid of, since we have our X's over here, this has nothing to do with X, so let's get rid of it. So, Emily, how do I get rid of the negative 5B?
Subtract it. No, you add.
Which is it?
Yeah.
Why?
It's
That's right, because we're already kind of like subtracting. It has that there, so we're going to add 5b to both sides. Can I combine these two terms, Emily? Because they are the same. We couldn't combine these two because of that a. They are not like terms, but these we can. So I have negative 7x plus ax equals what, Emily? 23b. Good. Okay, here's where that weird distributive thing comes into play. So we have to have x by itself over here. Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
But I have this negative 7 that I got to get rid of, and this a that I got to get rid of. Cecilia, do you see that? So that we can have x all by itself. So my question is, these two terms have what in common? With?
They have an X.
That's right. X they have in common. So watch what I do. Everyone needs to have their eyes on the board. Eyes on the board. I'm going to pull out the X in both of those terms. Michaela, you need to have your eyes on the board. You're not writing anything down. You have your eyes on the board. Look what I wrote. Don't write anything. Let's take a look. X is being multiplied with negative 7, and X is being multiplied with A. If I pull the X out and have it multiplied with the negative 7 plus A, isn't that the same thing? If I were to do distributive property, X times negative 7 is negative 7X, plus X times A is AX. So does this work?
Yes.
All right, write it down. Now, after you write down, look at it. Does anyone have questions? Michaela, yes, what's your question? I'm just kidding. Okay, anyone have a question? Yes, Whit. And we're not done yet, by the way, but go ahead.
Well, I was wondering why you would have to do that.
I'm about to show you.
Okay, because it's.
Don't we? Okay, but don't we have to have X all by itself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we can't combine these two because they're unlike terms. So I went ahead and pulled the X out, left it like this. Now, raise your hand if you can tell me what the new intruder is. Taylor?
Is it parentheses 7 plus A? Negative 7 plus A?
If this is you, isn't this whole parenthesis the intruder?
Yep.
So if this is being multiplied with this, what's the opposite, Taylor?
Division.
So look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. I'm dividing both sides by that whole parenthesis. Oh. This is where your notes come in handy. That crosses out, and your answer is X equals 23b over, and you can keep in parentheses, it doesn't matter, negative 7 plus A. You can also write it as X equals 23b divided by negative 7 plus A. It really doesn't matter, but you know me, I like to keep things organized.
Yep.
So I like this.
Unlike me.
Taylor.
That's for the video archives now.
Yeah. Taylor's mom, he just admitted how unorganized he is. And she's like, I know.
Good
I
thing my
know.
mom didn't watch these videos.
Taylor, I'll send it to her. Real quick. Like that. I just may do that. Okay. Anyway, are there questions about this? Now, do you see where attention to detail, military style, is going to be important with this stuff? All right, y'all ready for more? Cecilia, do you need to move up to stay awake? Or am I keeping you entertained?
Just right
Okay,
here.
let's do another example.
Just right here.
Taylor.
It's like the thing from Home Alone. Just like, have you had enough or are you thirsty for more?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Just give me
Here we go. We are solving for A. We got a lot of stuff going on here. Make sure you have this written down. Put your pencils down when you have it written down. Nice and neat notes. All right. Raise your hand. What is the first thing? Okay, so here's you and here's you. We got to somehow move all of this over here and this over there. Michael, raise your hand.
Oh.
Thank you for volunteering. What would be the first thing we should move? This B? Okay. So this B? Which B? There's two B's.
Yes, that one.
This one?
No.
Left or right, Michael? Left or right?
The right B.
This one right
Yes.
here?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
You want to do either the C or B because we want to get rid of the denominator, correct?
Sure.
So Michael's choosing the B. That's fine.
Do you have
So,
to?
yes. You should do the bottom first. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Either the C or the B needs to go first. Yes. All right. So Michael, this is dividing. So what do we need to do to both sides?
Multiply.
By,
E.
we're going to multiply this side by B and this side by B. Now watch what I do before you write. Watch what I do. I'm crossing this out. This B, is it just being multiplied with the A?
It's being multiplied with the whole thing. Wait,
It's-
no. Wait.
Let's look at it. Is that B being multiplied with just the A? It's being multiplied by what? Everything. That B is being multiplied with everything up here because it's like B over 1, right? So it's distributive property. Look what we're doing. B is being multiplied on both sides. This B is being multiplied by the whole thing,
The top part.
the top part. Because it's like B over 1. So 1 times C is going to be C. But it's this whole thing. So B times A, alphabetical order is,
AB.
B times 2B is
2B squared.
2B squared over C equals CD minus A.
Right.
Right. You may write. And then see if you have questions. I'm going to highlight us.
I just have my A's on the left, and I have no idea how I got what I got.
You're not supposed to be writing your own stuff. You're supposed to be writing what I have. So we multiplied this B down here with this whole thing, which crosses out, and then this whole thing, which is like distributed property, because it's really like B over 1. 1 times C is C, B times A is AB, and B times 2B is 2B squared. Does everyone see that? All right, Emily, what do I do now? What do I need to get rid of? the C. Which one? This one or this one? That's right, the one on the bottom. Again, because we want to get rid of the denominators. So I'm going, oh, and it's dividing, so what do I need to do? We're going to multiply C on both sides. These cross out, but just like over here, am I doing C times A?
Yes. No matter what, you're doing all of it.
All of it. It's C times this whole thing. So it's going to be C times negative A and C times CD. So over here, we've canceled that out, so I have AB plus 2B squared equals. What is C times CD? Raise your hand. Gabby? Very good. C squared D. So C times CD is C squared D. What is C times negative A? Gabby? Negative AC. All right, so write that down. If you have questions, let me know. All right, now that looks a little bit easier to deal with than the original problem. Cecilia, what should I move now? You have two options. Huh? Okay, good job. She wants to move this negative AC over there so we can have all of our A's on one side. So how do I do that, Cecilia? That's right. We're going to add AC to both sides. Now, Cecilia, can I combine AB and AC? No, because they are unlike terms. So I have AB plus AC, it doesn't matter the order, plus 2B squared equals C squared D. Aiden, once you have that written down, tell me what I should move next.
The 2b squared.
And how do I do that?
Subtracted from C2b to C squared D.
There you go. He's correct. So I have AB plus AC equals, and I don't care which order, I'm just, because of that B, I'm going to do 2B squared plus C squared D. If you have it in a different order, it's fine. Okay, sit back after you write that down and take a look at what we've got. If you have questions, let me know. Forgot to highlight. All right. Any questions so far? Yep. Yes, Cecilia? Why did I put an equal sign? Because I've had an equal sign. What do you mean? Then I'd have a 0 over here, and all the A's would be over here. We got to get all of our A's on one side, and everything else over there. Do you see that? Well, if you were to move this over here, then everything would be over here, right? So then we'd have to move these two things back over here. You got to have, you're solving for A, right? So you got to have your A's on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. If you want to put all your A's over here and everything else over here, that's fine. So should y'all be doing this all by yourself, or should you be copying what I'm doing? Yes. Okay, this is familiar to the last problem we did. Raise your hand if you can suggest. Ooh, Aiden's already got it. What can I do if I can't combine them?
You would do A in parentheses, B plus C in parentheses.
Look at that. He's correct. So these two terms have A in common. It's being multiplied inside. So we took A out, or he did, and he left A times B plus C equals negative 2B squared plus C squared D. Any questions about what Aiden did? Because these two terms cannot be combined. So, Michael, what can I do now?
Divide
Both sides by?
B plus C equals
Very good.
parentheses.
I know what you mean. And I get A equals negative 2B squared plus C squared D all over B plus C. When we're doing these examples, you need to write what I'm doing because this is very new for y'all. And then you won't have anything good to go back to. Oops. Any questions? Y'all have it down? Cecilia, do you have it? All right. So no questions? Open up your book to page 96.
You're already page 96.
That's right. Number 3. X divided by R equals R. And you're going to solve for X. All right, Cecilia, you're my first victim. So, who are you, Cecilia? You are X. And so what do you need to get rid of? R. You are X. This is why I highlight, because it helps with that, especially when you've got so many letters. It's easy when everything else is numbers, you know what I'm saying? But now, since there's so many letters in these, that's why I like to highlight. Okay, so you're getting rid of this R. How do I get rid of it? That's right, because we're dividing, so we're going to multiply both sides by R. These cross out, so X equals what, Cecilia? Yes, you're right. R times R is R squared. Good job. Any questions? Okay, number 5.
This one looks familiar.
Emily, y equals mx plus b. We're going to solve for b. And hopefully it does look familiar. What is the slope? Everyone?
No idea.
Gabby? You're close. M.
Yay! X is
And the
X
y-intercept is?
Y. B.
Is B.
Y.
Then why would they make the Y
Oh,
Y
never
is the
mind.
y-axis. X is the x-axis.
X?
This is the y-intercept. Okay, we'll talk about that another day.
Should be y squared.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're solving for B. We're solving for B. So, what, Emily, do I need to get rid of? What?
I don't know.
Well, we're solving for this, so what's the intruder? Okay, I couldn't hear you. So MX is the intruder. Do I need to get rid of just one or the other, or the whole thing? So how do I do that? You're asking like it's a question.
You subtract.
There you go. Because there's no sign here, we want to get rid of the whole thing, so we're going to subtract the whole thing. Good. Can I combine y and mx, Emily? So then your answer is y minus mx equals b. If you wrote negative mx plus y equals b, that's fine. Any questions? Good. All right, 7. Y'all should recognize this too. I equals P R T. Pert.
Dirt.
No, dirt's another one. Solve for T. What is I, by the way?
Interest.
Very good. Interest. What is P, by the way? Principal. What's R? Very good. Okay, Michaela, you're my victim. We're solving for T. So who are the intruders?
P R and
Well, the I's the cop.
I. Oh, P R.
So PR is the intruder. Do we want to just get rid of P?
No.
We want to get rid of P and R, right? How, Michaela? How will I do that?
Subtract P R.
Well, what operation is...
Divide.
Ah, very good. They're all being multiplied here with the T. Do y'all see that? So she is correct. We're dividing both sides by the PR because we want to get rid of the whole thing. So that crosses out. Our answer is I over PR equals T. Any questions? Y'all got this?
Question.
What?
What if you had moved the T over to the I?
Why would you do that?
Because that's what
Okay, that would not work. Because then you would have to, it'd be in the denominator, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd have to take it out of the denominator, so you would multiply both sides by t, and you're back where you started. So don't do that. Okay, number 9.
No,
Dirt. D equals RT.
You love dirt.
I do, actually. I'm the one that got a pile of dirt for my birthday one year because that's all I
Oh,
wanted.
yeah.
Okay, so we're solving for T. Michael, tell me what to do.
T divided by T by R.
Do I want to? Are you asking if I feel like doing that? Or are you suggesting I do that?
I mean, it's your choice. I mean, you're the teacher.
No, it's your choice.
Oh, okay. So
Who are the
yes.
teacher, Mike?
Okay, Michael wants to divide both sides by R, and he is correct. Good choice, Michael.
Yes. Very
Because we want T all by itself, the R and the T are being multiplied, so we divide both sides by R, and we get, no, not by T, we get D over R equals T. Any questions so far? These aren't too bad, right? Y'all have this down? 11. P equals 3S. We're going to solve for S. Whit, you want to do this one?
Sure.
What do I do?
You're gonna divide 3. Oh wait, no. Yeah. Yes. On both sides. and then you get P over 3
Equals
S.
S. Very good.
Man, so far this is nothing with the examples. Look down at the two.
Any questions so far? Gabby, 13. I have P divided by 6 RN equals 7 divided by 9 NX. And we're going to solve for P.
Both sides by 9 and
Okay, we're going to multiply because this is division, so we're going to multiply both sides by 6RN. These cancel out, and I'm left with P equals, so it's 7 times 6RN, so Gabby, what would you get? 7 times, what? 42 RN over 9 NX. So look what we did.
So it's not multiplying the entire side?
Yeah.
Well, it is because it's over 1, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? So 6RN times 7 is 42 RN. 1 times 9 NX is 9 NX.
That's it.
I mean, do you think we're done?
Yeah.
Can I simplify it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
By 3.
Shh. Gabby, can I simplify it? I can divide both by, huh? By 3. Thank you, Gabby.
Oh, good job, Gabby.
So we're going to simplify it. We have P equals 42 divided by 3 is 14 RN. And 9 divided by 3 is 3 NX. Now, if you do not simplify your numbers, I will count it wrong. Okay, so if you were to give me this, I would accept that. However, is there anything else that can be simplified in the letters? Wit?
And
N divided by N, that's what Taylor was talking about earlier. N divided by N is 1, correct? So then technically, those can be canceled out. This is totally simplified. Now, let's say though, you gave me this. I would not count it wrong. As long as you simplify the numbers, I'm not going to be picky. But this is actually correct. Raise your hand if you have questions. No questions? All right, everyone have it down? Let's do another. 15. This time I have y equals mx plus b, but we're solving for x. Aiden, you want to try this?
You divide
We're going to subtract b first, correct? And I don't care if you write y minus b or negative b minus y, I don't care. All right. Now what do I do? You divide both sides by m. And you divide the whole thing by m. It right now just makes it prettier. So you have y minus b over m equals x. Any questions? None? Make sure y'all have it. Y'all not gonna have homework tonight.
Oh, thank you.
No, we're just doing notes today, so don't stress.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Emily, do you have it? Everyone have it?
Yeah.
All right.
What if we do all the options?
17. We have to do a lot of examples with this stuff because it's
Yeah.
weird. M equals y2 minus y1. Y'all should recognize this one too.
No.
x2 minus x1.
I remember this.
I think this,
We're looking for the slope
what's
when
this?
given 2 points. And we're solving for x1 only. Oh no.
That's very detailed.
We're only solving for x1. Taylor!
That was loud. Okay.
What am I going to do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite my problem so that I can start messing with it. Because I'm going to need a lot of space. So y'all write this down and do not try in your head say, I know what I do. Don't start going off on it because if you do it wrong, now then you didn't copy down the correct way of doing it. So you can do it in your head like, I know what step I do. Let's see if Taylor does it. All right, Taylor.
Multiply both sides by negative x1.
All by itself. And then I have this as a denominator, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Or, because you'll eventually do this anyway, could we multiply both sides by the whole denominator and then separate later? Get it out in one snap? Could we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. We could multiply both sides by x2 minus x1 all in one snap. All in one snap. And then that takes care of that denominator right away. Oh, but Taylor. What do I do here? Is it distributive property?
You can, but couldn't you also divide both sides by m?
Well, let me see. Oh, that would work. No.
Ow.
I don't know if that would work.
I think it would. I'll set up two different ones as we go along. We'll see if we- What?
I'm thinking here. I think it actually could.
But no.
It's going to be crazy because of this negative right here down the road.
Okay.
I don't know if we want to go that route.
Well, I'll have two separate ones over.
Okay, so let's do distributive. So m times x squared is what?
That's my
I mean x2.
X2M.
Or mx2, it doesn't matter. Minus mx1 equals y2 minus y1. Okay, so Taylor, now what would you do? Could you move this whole term?
Yeah.
How would you do that? The whole term.
Subtract both sides by MX2.
mx2. So here's us. So we're going to subtract both sides. And I get negative mx1 equals y2 minus y1 minus mx2. Now what do we do?
Get rid of the M on X.
And how do I do that?
Divide both sides by negative M.
And I have x1 all by itself now equals y2 minus y1 minus mx2 all over negative m. And this does not get simplified anymore. This is your answer. Now, Taylor, did you work it that other way?
I'm going to.
I'm interested in seeing if it would work. Are there any questions from anyone else about this? Aiden.
Could you subtracted the x2 first and then
That's what we were trying to figure out.
divided by,
That's what.
You mean divide like right back up here?
yeah, then multiply it by 2 or y2 minus y1. Then you explain.
Divide. It should work. Let me check.
But my question would be, okay, so if we were to divide those, if you are totally confused, if you understand this, then close your ears. If we were to divide m on both sides, that would get us the m here. And then subtract the x2, that would get us here, but then this, where would the m come from? I mean, I'm legit asking because, you see what I'm saying? If this is the correct answer, then if we were to go back here, divide the m out, that would give us this m, correct? And then we subtract the x2, that would give us this. So then where does the m come from? And I get like this negative, but then that would make this a negative, this a positive, that negative. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you were to do it the other way.
I don't know if it would work.
If you were to do it the other way, it would be x1. Wait, no, yeah, x1 equals negative y2 plus y1.
Right, so
plus
that wouldn't
x2
work.
Over negative m, but it doesn't have the negative m next to the x.
So it wouldn't work.